Hey guys, and welcome back to part 2 of creating this dynamic footprint system in Unreal Engine 4. In yesterday's video, I showed you how to create the materials and decals when and where we want to spawn the footprints. And in today's episode, what we're going to be doing is defining these two materials here. So we have grass and snow, and obviously as many as you want. And then we're also going to be spawning in the footprints, spawning in the correct type. So if we're on grass, we'll spawn in grass footprints. If we're on snow, we'll spawn in snow footprints. And that should be it then done. Once we finish that, we should be all good. So this will be the final part, the final episode of just basically spawning in these footprints on the grass, on the snow, on mud, sand, rock, literally anything that you want, any material you have. I'm going to show you how we're going to be spawning those in today and defining the different surfaces through physics and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoy and I hope you find it helpful what we're going to be doing. So again, we're going to be finishing off the system right now. So then the next step is what we want to do is you want to set up the physics materials. So this is how we define which surface the player is standing on. So to do this, we're going to go to Edit, Project Settings. Once this loads, we're going to go scroll down till we find Physics here under Engine. And then we'll go down all the way down to the bottom of this, and we can set up our different surface types here. Now you can see here we have a maximum of 62. I think that is the maximum you can get. You can't have any more, but I don't see why you should be getting any more than 62 anyway. So once you've got that, what we want to do is we just want to name our different surface types. So as you know, I've only got grass and snow, so we're just going to select none, and we'll rename it to what we want. So if you've got more, you have grass, you'd have snow, then you can type in mud, type in sand, anything like that. You just add all your different surface types that you want in here, like so. So now there is no specific name you need to give this. It's just the one which makes most sense to you, and remember how you spelt it and what you named it, as we'll need to access it later on. So once you've done this, we want to close that, and we want to create these into actual physics materials. So we can go back to Content, my footprint system, and the materials here. And actually, no, I'll do this in floor mats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, go to physics again, and now we want to go to physical material. Select physical material like so, hit select. I'm going to name this one grass _PM for physical material, and I'm going to duplicate this for however many I have. So I've got grass and I've got snow. So now I'll rename this one snow PM as well. So again, do this for all the different ones you have. Once you've done that, we're going to open them up, and you see this one is snow PM. So under the surface type down here, I'm going to change it from default to be snow. Save that, minimize, close that. I'm going to open up my other one. So I've also got grass, change the default to be grass. So what we've done is we've created our surface types, and then we've also created the physical material as well, and we're setting that to be the surface type that we want. So you can save and close that as well. So now what will happen is whatever we set this on, it will be that. So let's also set these as well. So I'm going to open up my grass and snow materials here, which are these ones which I've placed down, so the ones in which I want the footprints to spawn on. So open those up like so. Now you can see that if we deselect everything, down the bottom left here, we have physics material. So what to do is change our physics material to be the one we want. So for me, that's snow PM. I'm going to save and apply that. And if I close this, go to my grass, I'll change the physics material to be grass PM. Save and apply that as well. So now what's going to happen is when we are walking on this material, it will be considered a physics material now. So it will be that surface. So if we are walking on top of grass, the system and the code will know that this is a grass material and this is a snow material, or physics material, sorry. So that we can then access this later on when we want to spawn a specific footprint. So now let's actually code in the spawning. So we've done where we want to spawn it, when we want to spawn it, what we want to spawn it on. Now let's do spawning it. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my character blueprint again. So I didn't close it. So this is again my third person character. We're going to go over to the event graph, scroll down here and find some empty space. Once we're here, I'm going to right click and I'm going to add a custom event. And I'm going to name this one footprint R, or spawn footprint R, or spawn right footprint, anything which makes the most sense to you. Out of this, I'm going to come out and we're going to get a line trace by channel. So this is going to draw a line for us so we can see which surface we're on. The start, what I want to do is I just want to right click and get actor location. So get actor location like so, the return value going in the start like so. And then I'm also going to come out of this return value as well and get a vector minus a vector like so. X and Y is 0. Z I'm going to put as 100 and plug that into the end like so. So what this is going to do is it's going to get the actor's location, so you go from the center of the player, and that'll be the start of the line, and it's going to draw a line from that all the way down 100 units on the Z. So what it's going to do is draw a line from the player's location to the floor. And so if it hits the floor, it will fire off the code. If it doesn't hit anything, then we're probably in the air, so it's not going to fire off this code. You can also do this by getting the actor rotation, getting the up vector, and timesing that by -100, but this way it's just a little bit more efficient and a little bit quicker for us. So in here, what you can do is you can set the actors to ignore. I'm not going to bother with that. And the draw debug type, you can set as for duration, which is just where you can see the red line it's drawing. So we can do this for testing. But I'm not going to worry with that, as I know this works. So I'll leave that as none, so we don't see anything. After this, what I'm going to do is hold down B, left click to get a branch, plug that into the execution there, and the condition is going to be the return value. So if it does hit something or not. If it doesn't hit anything, it will come out false, and it won't do anything. If it does hit something, it will go out true and fire off this line of code we're going to make in a minute. After this, what we also want to do is come out of the out hit, and we want to get surface type. So get surface type like that, and the return value of this, we want to get a switch on E physical surface, like so, plugging that into the true. And what you can see this is doing is if it hits something, which means it will hit the floor, it's going to see what the surface type of that floor is. So it's going to get the material that we hit and see if it has a physical material of either grass, snow, mud, or sand, as those are the physics materials that I set up in the project settings. Now obviously I'm only using grass and snow, but I have these as references for you as well. Now default is basically if we're not standing on any of these. So default I'm not going to bother with, as I don't want to spawn footprints if we're not on one of these surfaces. So after this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a few booleans. So I'm going to make those as well. I'm going to hit the plus variable here. I'm going to call this one grass, question mark, plus variable again, and call this one snow, question mark, leaving these as booleans. So now if I was using mud and sand, I'd also use those as well, but I'm not. So what I'm going to do is off of grass, I'm going to set grass to be true and set snow to be false. If we're on snow, I'm going to set snow to be true. I'm going to set grass to be false. So basically we are then telling the system which one we are on. Now again, there are different ways you can do this part here, but again, from all the different methods that I tried earlier, I found this one to be the most efficient. So at this very moment here, it might be a bit tedious having to set all these different booleans. However, when we go back to the code later on, it saves us from having to get a lot of different spawn actors. We can just then have one singular one, which this then unifies it all under. So again, do this for all the physics materials that you have. Now if you want to keep this organized down here, as this is in your character blueprint, we can give these a category. So if you just select default there, so select the boolean, then select category. I'm going to give this one a name of footprints. And then I'll select the snow as well and change that to be footprints. This means that you can now have this all under its own category, meaning it won't mess up with all your other variables in your character blueprint. So compile and save that. After this, what we want to do is this is where we're unifying it, meaning this part is going to be a lot more efficient. So we're going to come out of one of these sets there, and we're going to get a spawn actor from class. So spawn actor from class there, and this will also be going into the other set. So basically all of these will then go into these booleans and then rejoin again here on this spawn actor. So make sure you do it like this. The class, what I want to do is I want to have this as footprint R, as this is my right footprint that we're doing here. So footprint R like so. I'm going to right click on the spawn transform and split structure pin so I can mess about with these values individually. The spawn act location, I'm just going to get a reference to my foot R here. So this is where we're using this, as this is obviously where we want to spawn the footprint is at this plane here. So I'm going to drag and drop a reference to that, come out of this, and we're going to get world location. So the location of this in the world, return value of that will be the spawn transform location, like so. And then the spawn transform rotation, what I'm going to do is just come out of that, I'm going to get actor rotation. So basically the forward facing direction the player is facing in. The spawn transform scale, I'm going to set this to be 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. You can set this to be whatever you like, and if you have this to scale anyway, you can leave it as 1, but otherwise my footprint will be quite big, so I'm setting it to be 1/10 of the size, like so. So we compile and save that. So now this is going to spawn in the footprint, but what we want to do is we want to actually have this so it spawns in the correct material on it as well. So to do that, we're going to hold down B, left click after the spawn actor to get a branch, plugging that in there, like so. This first branch is going to be the condition of our grass boolean there. So if it is grass, if it is, we're going to come out this return value. Actually, I'll right click, promote to variable, and call this footprint R reference like that. And I'll give this the category of footprints as well. And I'll plug that in there like so. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag and drop this in here. So get footprint R ref, drag out of this, and I'm going to set material of the decal like so, plugging that into the true of the branch there. So if this is the grass material, we're going to set the material here, drag out of footprint RF again, and we're going to get grass material. So our grass mat variable, which we made earlier, plugging that into the new decal material there, like so. I'm going to double click on these as well to get some rewritten nodes to keep it looking nice and organized. So now what it's going to do is if it's the grass material, it will set the footprint to be a grass footprint. So what I'm going to do is offer false to this and hold down B, left click to get another branch, plugging that in there. Condition of this is going to be snow. Now I don't need to do this, I can just come out of false anyway as I only have 2, but if you have more than 2, then you want to do a branch here, and it's good practice to just do it anyway just in case you want to add more in the future. So then snow, we're going to do the same thing we did here. So we can actually just copy and paste that there. So we're going to set the decal material like so. This time we're going to come out of footprint R and we're going to get snow mat like so, plugging that into the new decal material like that. Again, I'll just organize this a little bit more like so. So what's going to happen is basically, I'll also just move this over a little bit. So what's going to happen is when we call this function, it's going to draw a line straight down to the floor. If it hits the floor, it's going to see which surface we're on. If we're on grass, it will tell the computer we're on grass. If we're on snow, it will say we're on snow. And then we're going to spawn in our footprint at the location of our foot reference we have there. And then it's going to set the material to be either grass or snow or whatever you have. And now you can do this separately, so you don't need to have these booleans here. What you can do is you can just have this spawn actor instead and then set the material here. But I'm doing it this way instead, as it's just a little bit more efficient, so we don't have to get loads of different spawn actors on all of these, because we have to be setting the material after we've spawned it in. We can't set the material here before we spawn it and then spawn it. We have to set the material before it. So that's why we're doing it this way. And again, I tried a lot of different ways earlier. This seems to be the most efficient. So all we want to do is basically just select all of this, hit Control-C, Control-V to copy and paste it down here. And then we'll just rename this custom event to be footprint L. So this is going to be the left footprint. The top one was the right. This is going to be the left, like so. And all we want to do is we just want to change a few things here. So there's foot R, get world location. We want to be foot L, get world location. The spawn actor, we want to change to be footprint L. And then we just want to change these references around here as well. So actually we'll delete all of this last part, like so. Then we're going to right click on this, promote to variable, call this footprint L ref. And you can just come straight out of this return value and get the decal and everything we're doing. But this just helps to keep it more organized again. Plug that in there like so. And I'll give this the category of footprints. And I'm just going to do the same thing I did up there. So after the true of the grass, I'm going to set the material of the decal. So set decal material, plugging that in true there. And this is going to be the grass material. So get grass mat like so, plugging that in there like that. And then just copy and paste this down here and get your other materials that you have. So for me, that is the snow mat like that. And that is all we need to do. So this should now be it done and working. But we do still need to call these, but the functions themselves or custom events should be done. So again, so when it's called, it will draw a line from the player to the floor, see which surface we're on, and then it will spawn a correct material dependent on which surface we're on. Obviously I went through it more up here, but it's the exact same thing. So we're going to compile and save that. And now what we want to do is we can close this and we want to go over to our animation blueprint. So for me, that's content, mannequin, animations, third person, and in BP. In here, we want to go over to the event graph and find some space. We're going to right click and we're going to get a begin play. So event blueprint begin play. Out of this, we're going to cast to our character. So for me, that's the third person character. The object will be get player character. Again, obviously this cast for you can even be third, first, whatever you've named it. As third person character, we're going to right click, promote to variable. I'm going to call this one character reference. So again, we can just easily access this further down here without having to get a load of these blue lines. So just underneath this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to get footprint R. Event anim notify footprint R. So the anim notifiers we made in the animations, when they are called, it's going to fire off this event. So when we fire off this event, we want to fire off the other event. So we're going to get character reference. Out of this, we're going to call function footprint R, plugging that in there like so. And obviously underneath this, we're going to get footprint L. So event anim notify footprint L. And then the character reference, which is going to call function footprint L like so, plugging that in there like that. Now this should all be working perfectly. So we can compile and save that. So when it needs to call it, it's going to spawn it in, and we've just done where we're going to spawn it, all this good stuff. So now let's test this out. So if we hit play, so you can see that if we're walking on this concrete here, we don't have anything because this will just be the default. So there's no footprints here. If we walk onto the snow, we're getting these snowy footprints like so. And if we go onto the grass, we get the grass footprints. And that works perfectly, and it changes each time. So it isn't working on this one here, so let me see why. If I set the material wrong, I haven't put the correct material on here. So this needs to be grass mat like so, and now this should work. So as you can see, it's doing it dependent on the material like so, and there we go, we can see it working a lot better now. So we have the white footprints here, so we have the snow, and we have green for grass here. And you should see that they're going to be despawning after us like that. You can see they're despawning, meaning it won't be lagging like so. And this works great, and again, you can either use solid colors like I am, or you can use actual textures, which I showed you. All you need to do is just instead of using a constant vector, use a texture sample. It's completely customizable for you. There's a lot of different things you can change in here to get it to look a lot better for you and work a lot better and work differently, all this good stuff that you want to have. But I think that'll be it for this video, as we've done everything we've wanted to do. We've created a dynamic footprint system in which when you're on grass, it does grass. If you're on snow, it does snow footprints, and you can have as many materials as you want. You just do the exact same thing we did in today's video. It's very easy and simple to do and pull off for yourself. And they also despawn after you, so it doesn't lag, and this looks and works great. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you found it helpful. And if you did, make sure to like and subscribe down below. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.